Good day, everyone. Welcome to this lesson on cooperative learning, one of the most important teaching strategies you need to know for the LET. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, I already know what group work is. And yes, cooperative learning does involve working in groups, but it is so much more than that. By the end of this lesson, you'll understand exactly what makes cooperative learning different from ordinary group work, how it looks in an actual classroom, and most importantly, how LET questions will test you on this topic. So let's get started. Let's begin with the definition. Cooperative learning is a teaching strategy where students work together in small groups to achieve shared learning goals. Now, the key word here is shared. It is not just about sitting beside each other or dividing tasks. Every member of the group is working toward the same goal, together. And here is what makes it really special. Each student is responsible not only for their own learning, but also for making sure their teammates are learning too. Think about it this way. In a regular classroom, if your seatmate doesn't understand the lesson, that's their problem, right? But in cooperative learning, it becomes your responsibility too. You help each other. You make sure nobody gets left behind. That is the heart of cooperative learning. It builds both academic skills and the values of caring and responsibility. Now let's talk about the 3 key features of cooperative learning. These are the things that make it different from ordinary group work. And these are exactly the things the LET will ask you about. First, heterogeneous groups. This means the teacher deliberately mixes students of different abilities, skills, and strengths in one group. You don't put all the smart students together and all the struggling students together. You mix them. Why? Because students learn from each other. The stronger students develop by explaining, and the weaker students benefit from peer support. Second, shared responsibility. In cooperative learning, activities are designed so that the group can only succeed if everyone contributes. This is called positive interdependence. The success of one depends on the success of all. It also promotes individual accountability, meaning you can't just sit there and let others do the work. Third, teacher as facilitator. In cooperative learning, the teacher steps back from being the main source of knowledge. Instead, the teacher walks around, observes, asks guiding questions, and supports the groups as they work. The learning happens between the students. Remember these 3. They are your LET keywords. Let me bring this to life with a classroom example so you can really picture it. Imagine a grade 5 science class. The teacher wants the students to investigate how plants grow. Instead of just explaining it through a lecture, the teacher divides the class into small groups. Now here is the important part. Each student in the group is given a specific role. We have the recorder, who writes down all the group's findings, the timekeeper, who makes sure the group stays on track, the researcher, who looks for information and evidence, and the presenter, who will share the group's findings with the class. Notice what is happening here. Everyone has a job. No one can just sit and do nothing. Each role is essential for the group to complete the project, and at the end, they must share their findings. They cannot just work in their own corner. The whole group must come together to produce one complete output. That is cooperative learning in action, structured, purposeful, and everyone is accountable. Now let's look at the benefits. And there are many, but I want you to really understand these, not just memorize them. The first benefit is communication and teamwork. When students work in groups, they have to talk to each other. They have to listen, explain their ideas, take turns, and sometimes even disagree respectfully and work it out. These are life skills, skills they will need far beyond the classroom. The second benefit is deeper understanding. You know that feeling when you try to explain something to a friend and you realize you don't fully understand it yourself. That is actually a powerful learning moment. In cooperative learning, when students teach each other, they are forced to really process the material. Peer teaching deepens understanding for both the one explaining and the one listening. The third benefit is a positive classroom climate. When students work together regularly, they build relationships. They learn to trust each other, support each other, and celebrate each other's success. The classroom becomes a community, not just a room full of individuals competing for grades. As future teachers, these benefits should excite you. Cooperative learning doesn't just teach content, it builds character. Okay, let's now put on our LET reviewer hat. This slide is very important for your exam preparation. When you see a question in the LET about cooperative learning, watch out for these 5 key concepts. Number 1, collaboration. If the question talks about students working together, helping each other, or sharing ideas, that is cooperative learning. Number 2, positive interdependence. This is a favorite LET term. It means the group syncs or swims together. If one member doesn't do their part, the whole group is affected. Number 3, individual accountability. Even though they work as a group, each student is still responsible for their own learning. The LET will sometimes give scenarios where a student is free riding, not contributing, and ask you what is missing. The answer is individual accountability. Number 4, teacher as facilitator. If a question describes a teacher walking around asking questions and letting students lead their own learning, that is cooperative learning with the teacher as facilitator. Number 5, shared goals. All members of the group are working toward one common outcome, not individual goals, shared goals. Memorize these 5 concepts and you will be ready for any LET question on cooperative learning. And that brings us to our key takeaway for today. Cooperative learning works best when students are responsible for both their own learning and the success of their teammates. That sentence captures everything we discussed today. It is about teamwork, yes, but it is also about accountability. It is about shared goals. It is about building a classroom where no one is left behind. As future teachers, cooperative learning is one of the most powerful strategies you can use, not just because it helps students learn content, but because it teaches them how to work with others, how to communicate, and how to take responsibility. And for your LET exam, whenever you see keywords like collaboration, positive interdependence, individual accountability, shared goals, or teacher as facilitator, think of cooperative learning. You've got this. Keep reviewing, keep going, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Padayon.